Welcome back friends. We will start with writing and emails and memorandums, which is emails, that is electronic mails, and memorandums. All of us are no strangers to emails, but many of us would be wondering what are memos or memorandum, because this is not something that we do in our daily life. Emails, however, have become a part of our day to day communication, day to day written communication. So, the focus is on emails and memorandums, and in what context are we supposed to read to use them, and what are the etiquettes, what are the protocols of emails and memorandums in a business situation. So, let us look at the objectives of the module today. The module is we are focusing on some general tips on writing, how to write emails or effective emails rather, and what are memos, memorandums, and how to write effective memos. Remember, these are part and parcel of your everyday communication in business situations. Business communication in office and corporate situations, you have to send emails and memorandums on a daily basis. And the bullet point 1, that is general tips on writing, is going to help you in improving your writing skills in a more broader context. So, let us look at this list of tips on good writing. I am sure that most of you are aware of this, but let us revise them for our benefit. So, remember that it is important to choose an appropriate style of writing. Business English or business emails and communication, they require you to keep it simple yet coherent. You should be able to make your point very succinctly, but in an effective way. So, do not beat around the bush. This is not a test of creative writing, this is a test of effective writing. Remember, always organize your letter, and by letter here I mean the email that you are sending. So, letter that you are sending as an email, electronic mail, into paragraphs consisting of an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion, which is true of all forms of communication. If there are more paragraphs, then we are just assuming that you have more material to write, okay, but do not write one sentence paragraphs, that is a disaster. The layout is important, and this includes writing the appropriate salutation and conclusion when you sign off the letter. So, all these things are important. Your vocabulary counts. So, how to improve your vocabulary? Only one way: to read a lot and to pay attention to when you listen to communication or somebody talking, okay, somebody's speech, but do not pick the wrong kind of slang. I do not want to get into any discussion of what is called wrong kind of slang, but wrong kind, that is aggressive kind of communication, or which is impolite. Many people think that to be aggressive and to be impolite is winning the battle, but in my opinion, in the long run, these things may not be that effective. Remember, you have to rehearse and practice your words whenever you come across an interesting or an appropriate word in a new situation. Try to practice, rehearse it. Remember that writing can be easy. I mean, writing is not the easiest of all skills, but it requires practice. Now, how to write emails? The general tip is the style of a business email is that of a formal business letter. When you are writing an email, always keep in mind that the person on the or at the receiving end might not have the time to go through a lengthy email or long email. Avoid writing lengthy emails or long emails in a business situation. This is not a personal email where you start describing your emotions and feelings. Some in business situations, in corporate settings, it's best to keep our feelings and personal emotions in check. So, what are some of the ways to make sure that your email would be taken seriously and not end up in the trash folder? Remember to write a subject. So, this is the first and foremost point. The subject should be mentioned clearly. Keep the subject header short and concise, usually 4 to 5 words. A good way is to convey the core idea of the message efficiently. For example, you may say flight details AI 796 on 22nd December 2017. Okay, so it says everything, the date, the flight details. Arriving Tuesday, your XYZ order number so and so. Urgent meeting on Tuesday about XYZ policy or business situation. So, some subject headings that you should avoid, just a very general kind of order arriving. Which order? You do not know. Or meeting, which meeting and with whom? You do not know. Remember, it is not a personal meeting. If you are if you conduct if you are conducting a meeting or you have an appointment with a close friend, and if he or she sends you a mail saying meeting, you know what it is all about. But if you attend at least 10 to 15 meetings a day, then it should have more details, a few more details. Specifics should be given very clearly. So, meeting on Tuesday or meeting on 26 December 2017 about XYZ proposal. So, that is important to write in the subject, so that the receiver or the receivers are very clear about what they are attending or what they are being called for. Second important point in writing a business email is to organize your message appropriately. Remember, you have to format it correctly in such a way that important points are highlighted. Generally, we do not encourage bullet points in business letters, but if your company allows it, it all depends on what are the requirements and how it is done in your particular corporate situation. If bullet points are allowed, it is fine. Generally, we discourage writing letters in use or even reports in bullet points, but however, it all depends on who the reader is and what are the requirements and what are the requirements of the given institution. So, if it is done, it is fine, otherwise avoid bullet points. Headings also, the same goes for headings. So, many a time it is allowed, many a times it is not, many a time it is not allowed. So, although one thing about subheadings and bullet points is that these things catch instant attention of the readers. So, it all depends on your institution or your agency or your corporate, how much you are allowed to use. But paragraphing, yes, you have to use effective paragraphing. Now, also remember, while writing emails, that you should have a clear idea of what type of content to include in your message. So, always try to answer the questions as what is my position and who is the person I am writing. I mean, if you are sending a mail to your boss, to the manager, again it depends on your interpersonal relationship with the boss. If your company policy is extremely relaxed and casual, then you need not be very formal. But if, let us assume you are writing to a university professor or the dean or the vice chancellor, then remember that formal tone has to be used. It is all right in extremely western situations to address people by their names, dear Bob or dear Richard, and so on. However, always be culturally appropriate. In many situations, in many countries, addressing your boss directly by their name may not be may not be the best idea. Remember what is the connection between you and your recipient. So, what is the relationship, or what is the connection that I am trying to establish with the receiver. So, these things are important. And again, let me reiterate, we are talking about business situations and not personal relationships. What do you expect from the receiver? However, it does not mean that you have to be extremely flattering to people. I mean, that also becomes extremely absurd. In today's context, nobody, for instance, write respected sir or madam. It would be in most of the situations, this kind of writing is absolutely outdated. Dear sir or madam, yes, it's accepted, it's universally accepted. Even if so, if you, in case you have doubts whether you should be addressing a person by their name or not, then it's better to use dear sir or madam, and it's always safe. Why am I trying to establish this connection? And remember, you have to be very clear in your mind that what do you want from the person, what are the further steps that I should suggest to the recipient. So, state your problem or your requirement succinctly, briefly, and then the steps that you need to suggest to the recipient. Now, at the same time, I am talking about real time situations, in real life corporate situations. However, if you are taking exams of business English communication, so in exam situation you will always be asked to write the letter in a particular number of words, a specific number of words. So, if it says you have to write a letter in, let us say, 80 to 100 words, then you see to it that you are completing or you are fulfilling the norm of the minimum words. So, if it is, let me repeat it for you. If you are writing a letter in exam situations, if you are writing a report in exam situations and you are given a word limit, stick to the limit. Here I am talking about real time situations. So, even if you do not stick, I mean, you do not have to really bother about whether you are writing at least 80 to 100 words here. If you think that you have said it all within 50-60 words, that is also fine, as long as communication is effective. So, that is the key, or that is the bottom line to remember, that communication should be complete and clear. And what kinds of specific information should the recipient be provided with? For example, a meeting is scheduled at such and such place. So, you should be able to say venue, date, time, and what are the props required, equipment required, facilities required. So, all these things should be mentioned very clearly. Again, if you are cross referencing other details in your message, like the link to another page or web page, then make sure that you include the content clearly in your message. Always start your email with an appropriate greeting, like dear Mr. George, dear Mrs. Iyer, and always end it with your a proper signature, and if required, provide your contact details as well. Remember that you have to proofread your email after you are done writing it. So, once you are done with it, because see, most of us take emails quite casually and we use abbreviations as and when we like. However, in business communication, which is a formal setting, remember that you have to be more careful with the kind of language you use, with the kinds of abbreviations you use, and of course, proofread it. Give it the same respect as you would give to a formal letter. here is a sample business meeting email. So, from that is your mailing address to XYZ, including the mailing address of your recipient. Subject: urgent meeting at 3 p.m. today, business lounge. So, venue, date and time. And dear all, this is to inform you that an urgent meeting is scheduled or is to be held today at 3 p.m. at our company lounge. The agenda for the meeting is to discuss the staggering losses that the company suffered last month. As the CEO of the company, I have always stressed upon the need to constantly improve ourselves so that we are always the best in the market. Due to a lot of reasons, we suffered losses amounting to nearly rupees 4.5 crores in the past month, nearly a 52.36% decrease from our revenue estimates of last year. It is time then to rethink our marketing strategies and come up with something completely new that is on par with the new digital strategies that our competitors have adopted. The meeting is compulsory for everyone in the company. Please do acknowledge this message. Last sentence gives you or stresses on the urgency of the situation. Yours sincerely, Raghav Chandra, and he gives his position, designation and his contact number. Here and there you may disagree with the choice of words or something. However, this is a general format, this is a general style of a business, of a good effective business email. Now, let us do this exercise. It's like a role play. You are Mohan Sharma, the managing director of Alcramatics, a leading producer of commercial vehicles in India. Recently, your company has been thinking of fixing a deal with Bayon's, an average company that produces tires. The reason for the same is the sharp decrease in consumer support to the company due to the poor quality of tires. So, now what are you supposed to do? Send out an email to the CEO of the company, setting up a meeting at an appropriate place with appropriate date and time. Your email should also be able to convince the person, the receiver, partially that the deal is a good one and relevant details regarding the deal as well. So, give the relevant details regarding the deal. And here is your answer. I have given you the sample answer also to the CEO and give his email ID from this person. Subject: possibility of a meeting on, date is given, time is given. Dear sir, this mail is in reference to the phone conversation we had 2 days back regarding the termination of our contract with ABC Tires. Is a meeting on Thursday 2 p.m. convenient for you for a discussion of the contractual terms of the new deal that we intend to fix with Bayon's? Due to lack of space, I have not included the signing off. Always remember to sign off your letter appropriately, as I have already shown you in the previous mail. Now, making a deal, this is another topic and a business proposal email. Remember what is a business proposal email, which is it's a kind of an email which is meant to reach out to prospective clients and let your company be known to someone. So, here is a sample proposal email. Before attempting one of your own, look at the sample. So, this is to and from and subject and sir or dear sir or dear Mr. XYZ, whatever is the person's name. This email is to formally propose electrical wiring services for your company Albatross. We recently came across your newspaper advertisement asking for electrical wiring services and we decided to form an acquaintance with your company. And this is continued now, this could be your second paragraph. Alcatrix was founded in the year 1956. So, he is giving some information about his company with the aim of providing the best or the best electrical wiring service to anyone who requires it, domestic as well as commercial. We have been one of the best in the market for the past 30 years, and we are here to propose the best wiring offers for your company as well. Please find attached a full list of our services in the brochure attached to this email. Now, consider how effective this strategy is to introduce your company, because do not just assume that you are so well known that everybody will just lap up or whatever you are offering. So, you have to always attach your achievements. Same goes for, let us see, let us say that you are applying for a job or recruitment advertisement, and you are supposed to, however well known or however big your achievements might be, you have to always attach your curriculum vitae. Do not just assume that your achievements are so well known or widely known that you do not need to publicize yourself effectively. So, here again a full list of our services in the brochure is attached to this email. What are we? What do we bring to the table? What are the services we can offer to your company? If you wish to speak to us further, and this sentence can also be written as if you are interested in your proposal, please do contact us at this number, or please do not hesitate to call us at this number. Yours sincerely, your name, your designation. Now, here is another exercise for you. Recently, you purchased a brand new dress through an online portal or shopping business portal. However, on receiving it, you find it to be drastically different from what you had selected. The company offers a 1-week replacement policy. Write a letter to the company asking for a replacement. And what could be the tips before you start formulating this kind of an email? The tips is, firstly, you have to introduce yourself, not your designation. Here it is not necessarily who you are, but you are this customer. Give exact details about the purchase, the date, the product number, its description, the order number is also important. Many a time when you place order through online service portals, then or shopping portals, they give you an order number and they send you an acknowledgement. It is always good to send, if you have any complaint, then in the same thread you should be able to it is advisable that you send your complaint also in the same thread. And of course, if you have purchased from the company before, mention that too. It adds credibility to your claim that you are not a habitual complainer. You have had dealings with this company before, you have bought goods from this company before, you do not always return them. So, it is not like you are a known harasser or troublemaker, but this time the complaint is quite genuine. So, here is your sample answer response to online portal at so and so from Gayatri and this, and subject order number 3457. Dear sir, I had ordered a blue long dress from your company 2 weeks back on the 22nd of January 2017. I received the order number a week back on February the 1st. However, the product I received was not what I picked. The dress that I had received was pink and looked drastically different from what I had selected. It is unfortunate to say that this is the first time this is happening, since I am regular customer of your company. I am aware that the dress comes up with a 1-week replacement policy and I would like to avail it. Please do let me know about the procedures to be followed for the same. Sincerely, and your name. So, this is very succinct. You can also give your contact address, your number, and as I said before, most companies give you an instant acknowledgement once you pay online or place an order. So, it is better to send such kind of a letter in the same thread that, look, this is what I ordered, it is not like I am making it all up. So, this is the way we write a letter of complaint if we haven't received what we actually ordered for. Now, from here we move on to writing memos. What are memos? Now, memo is a short form for memorandum. It is a short precise message or messages that are often used for internal communication with the company. Now, what is internal communication and how do they differ from an email? Okay, you see, memos are extremely restricted. The best way that I can differentiate between a letter can also be extremely confidential. Now, memos are confidential, but in the sense that they are not just they can be, of course, sometimes be meant only for one person, strictly for one person, but the idea is that they are shorter in length. Memos are also strictly for internal circulation within the company, not outside the company. Memos can also be sometimes sent to an individual and not just to the entire staff. A memo contains the most important facts and hence ideally should have a single strand of thought. Okay. You do not really beat around the bush in a memo. You do not really need to give too many details in a memo. The reader should get the message very effectively in a good memo. Business memos are of two types: informational memos and instructional memos. Now, this is for the theory's sake. However, when you send a memo to your colleagues, then you do not think of informational or instructional memos, you just send a memo. But you should know that as a students of business English, you should know that informational and instructional memos. Informational memos are those which are meant for communication within the company and usually contain information for one or more individuals. Instructional memos are those meant for internal communication, but contain instructions which demand immediate action. How to write an effective memo? So, these are the questions that you should ask. Who is your reader? Now, when you write a memo, always keep your reader, the receiver, in mind and the type of relationship that you share with the receiver. If it is an equal, then you have to be extremely polite. If you generally you do not send memos to your superior, to those higher in hierarchy. An instructional memo is not meant for a very large audience, since it contains specific information that has to be acted upon immediately, whereas an informational memo is more encompassing in terms of readership. You should also know why you are writing this memo, what are your objectives, how much should you write, what is the scope of your memo. You should remember that a memo is a short precise message, do not include too much information, stick to the facts, include the whats, the whys and whens. Okay, so, those are the important things. So, stick to the fact. An urgent meeting is scheduled on so and so for improving the quality analysis process of our company, or something like that, to improve the time management skills of our workshop is scheduled to improve the time management skills of all personnel of this company. This is a memo, information. Remember to organize your memo such that the most important information is included in the first line, first paragraph itself. Usually a memo should not run into paragraphs. Include lists and bullet points if necessary, so that the message is effectively deciphered or read. Always pay attention to the opening and to the closing. Make sure that everything is well structured. As always in all business communication, it should be polite. You should always make multiple drafts and pick the one that is most precise. Read and reread your memo. Here is an example. Letterhead, most companies come with their own letterheads. Look at 2, from, date, subject, new computers in the HR section, and here is an introduction. The new computers installed in room 5A HR section have stopped functioning due to an electrical malfunctioning. The computers are a week old and were bought from ABC Computer Appliances. Attached here are the contact details of Mr. Kumar, the director of ABC Computer Appliances, our point of contact with the company. Name, phone, email of the point of contact. So, this is the body. Contact him immediately and let him know about our situation here. Give me an update about this within an hour, and this is your conclusion. Please go through it again. Look at the letterhead, the header, the introduction, the body, the conclusion. A very effective memo. Here is your exercise situation. For the past 1 month, one particular employee has not been punctual in reporting for work. This is a very common situation in most corporates or institutes or offices. As the supervisor or manager, you are worried and you are asked by the general manager to warn the employee of the company's strict punctuality policies. Write a memo to this employee. Your memo must contain the following details: the importance of being punctual in a corporate company, relevant statistics explaining the trend of unpunctual employees, a strict warning to not repeat this activity in the future, along with some tips on how to avoid such an issue. Company working hours, state them very clearly, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., name of the company, reasons for being late, poor planning, reliance on public transport system, heavy traffic jams, overslept, physical or mental illness. Okay. So, let us take a look. Now, there is another exercise here. Situation is, there has been a recent break out of dengue fever across the city. You are the HR manager of a company and you observe that this much percentage of your employees have fallen sick over the past 1 month. Concerned about the situation, you have asked Medina, a local healthcare center, to conduct a thorough medical checkup for all the employees at your company. Draft a memorandum to all your employees informing them. So, your memo must contain the following details. So, venue, date and time of the checkup, expenses of the medical workshop, free, the expense of the checkup will be borne by the company, quality of services provided, what does the health package consist of, point of contact. Here, write a memo responding to this one. So, memorandum to all staff from date, subject, urgent meeting in 30 minutes. This is to inform you that that we will have an urgent meeting at the business lounge with the CEO of the company to discuss the recent decline in that company's profits. Mr. Sharma, general manager of the company, will be going over the basic sales statistics of the past 10 years. Please note that the meeting is absolutely compulsory for all to attend. Situation: you are a company employee and you are in no position to attend the meeting since you are seriously ill. Respond. So, think of an appropriate response. And here is another exercise for you. Write a short memo to your boss outlining the merits of using a tracking signal over a control chart that monitor forecasts. Your memo should have the following details: a short comparison of the effectiveness of tracking signal and control chart. Remember, the tip is here to keep the language very simple and readable, like most memos. This is especially challenging since you have a technical subject, but merits of using a tracking signal over a control chart that monitor forecast. Now, this is something that you should be able to send a mail. I mean, only the person who has some kind of a technical expertise would be able to decode such kind of a message. So, remember that keep it simple, at the same time it should have enough technical material. Now, here is a memorandum, punctuality at work. We were just looking at the question. You have been observed to be consistently late for work for the past 1 month, and I, as your supervisor, would like to remind you for the second time this year that the company observes a strict rule that requires all employees to be punctual and turn up for work at 10 a.m. It is rather alarming that you have been signing in for work well past 11:30 am daily and leaving by 5 p.m. every evening. The company consists of 439 employees, 83% of whom adhere to the strict policies of the company. Out of the 17 latecomers, your trend has been the most worrisome. Punctuality is a wonderful quality to uphold, especially when working in a corporate company. We understand that some of the reasons cited for being unpunctual include heavy traffic and inefficient public transport systems. We urge you to leave your home early so that you can be here right on time. It is polite, but quite strict and firm. Let us look at the answer to exercise 1.5. Due to the recent breakout of H1N1 fever across the city, the company has decided to provide a free health workshop to all employees. Now, again look at the way memos are constructed or structured. You do not have to say, hope this letter finds you well, how are you, I am fine here. So, this is not, because here this is not the style or appropriate style of a business communication, of a business memorandum. So, just come to the point. Due to the recent breakout of H1N1 fever across the city, the company has decided to provide a free health workshop to all employees. The health checkup is free for all and it will be done by Medina, a local healthcare service that has been doing such workshops for the past 10 years in several companies. Company statistics show me that nearly 47% of employees have reported ill for work over the past 1 month alone. Hence, I request all employees to avail this service. The package consists of the following: a general body checkup along with diagnosis, blood tests and blood pressure examination, H1N1 vaccination, and these are the things that will be covered, right. So, this is the body. And conclusion, do contact Gayatri at room this if you are interested. Her contact details are also attached, phone number this. Instead of if you are interested, you can also say this is absolutely mandatory. It all depends on the way your company treats such matters. And here is the answer to the next exercise, where everyone is expected to attend a meeting. Due to a high fever, I will be unable to attend today's urgent meeting as I had planned to take a half-day leave to visit a doctor. My sincere apologies for my absence. Clear and succinct. Here are the references if you are interested to learn more about effective emails and writing for business communication. Thank you very much.